Just Like Josh Gibson by Angela Johnson, illustrated by Beth Peck, and creatively read by Miss Tia. Grandma says, "There's nothing like baseball." The story goes, Josh Gibson once hit a baseball in Pittsburgh so hard that it didn't come down. The next day, he was playing in Philadelphia, and the ball dropped out of the sky right into the fielder's glove. The umpire pointed to Josh and said, "You're out yesterday in Pittsburgh." Grandmama says her pa showed up on that same day, the day she was born, with a Louisville slugger and a smile. He said his new baby would make baseballs fly just like Josh Gibson. So her grandma's pa threw balls to his baby girl in the early morning dew. Those summer days were like magic as the balls sailed away gone. But girls in the 40s didn't play baseball. They weren't supposed to take the field with the boys or have batting dreams. So even when Grandma got bigger, she still had to stand outside the fence and watch her cousin Danny and the Maple Grove All-Stars batting away. But every now and again, when the team was just practicing, they'd let Grandma play too. Then Grandma would step up to the plate, hit the ball, and watch it soar. Grandma says Danny would imagine he was playing with the Dodgers, but she was always Josh Gibson, playing for the Grays, wearing their team colors and hitting away. Grandma says she would play all day, with everybody saying she could do it all: hit, throw, and fly around the bases. But too bad she's a girl. Too bad she's a girl. Until 2 days, hot days, after the 4th of July, Danny hurt his arm sliding into second, and there was only 8 All-Stars. That afternoon, the team looked to Grandma, pink dress with a white bow and Danny's baseball shoes. And Grandma says as she went to the plate, she remembered baseball has always been early morning dew and sunlight. Hitting balls with her paw and standing behind the fence watching the boys play. The story goes, Grandma hit the ball a mile that day, caught anything that was thrown, and did everything else, just like Josh Gibson. As she hands the ball to me, she says, "There's nothing like baseball, baby." And I couldn't help but love it, especially the one time I got to hear all the cheers while stealing home. Joshua, aka Josh Gibson, was born December the 21st, 1911, in Buena Vista, Georgia. He died January the 20th, 1947, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His position on the team was a catcher and outfielder. His teams were Homestead Grays, Pittsburgh Crawfords, elected in the Hall of Fame in 1972. He bats right and he throws right. Called the Babe Ruth of the Negro League, the 6'1" Joshua, aka Gibson, had ball-playing skills that are the stuff of a legend. A consummated batter, Gibson hit both for power and average, and is believed to have hit the longest home run in several big league parks, including Pittsburgh Forbes Field, Cincinnati Crosby Field, and the house that Ruth built, Yankee Stadium. In 60 recorded at-bats against Major League pitching, he batted a whopping .426. The great Satchel Paige was Gibson's teammate at Pittsburgh Crawfords, and who later pitched for the Cleveland Indians, said he was the greatest hitter who ever lived. But Josh Gibson's talent wasn't limited to his performance at the plate. His speed and strong arm made Gibson a force to be reckoned with behind the plate as well. And Hall of Fame pitchers Walter Johnson and Carl Herbel placed him among baseball's all-time greatest catchers. Sadly, the major leagues never got a chance to fully welcome Josh Gibson's extraordinary talent. On January 20th, 1947, 3 short months before Jackie Robinson took the field with the Brooklyn Dodgers and ended Major League Baseball's 50-year ban on African American players, Gibson suffered a stroke and died. He was only 45 years old. Years later, fellow teammate Judy Johnson would say, if Josh Gibson had been in the big leagues in his prime, Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron would still be chasing him from the home run record. Wow. These are haunting words that remind us of the high cost of arbitrary barriers like race and gender. Yet, gender barriers to big leagues still exist, despite the fact that baseball has fielded several amazing girl players. No woman has ever been signed to play for a major league team. So even though Alta West made enough money pitching expedition games to put herself through medical school in the early 1900s, and even though 17-year-old major league pitcher Jackie Mitchell struck out Babe Ruth, the Lou Gehrig back-to-back 1931, the major leagues is still strictly boys only. There was one young lady during the 1950s that did get up to play with the boys though it wasn't in the majors. In 1953, infielder Tony Stone was signed to play the position vacated when a slugger Hank Aaron left the Negro Leagues to join the Milwaukee Braves. Tony was inducted into the Women's Sports Hall of Fame in 1993 and is twice celebrated in Cooperstown. Once the Woman in Baseball Expedition, and again in the Negro League section, just like Josh Gibson. She serves as an inspiration for all those little ladies with big league dreams.